As we talk about the heart of prayer, part of that issue, that importance of prayer, is making sure that we really have it settled in our own mind what our motives are, that we really understand within ourselves the priority of prayer. Why is it a priority? And how do we make it a priority in our lives? So just two verses I want you to consider in this segment. The first is 1 Thessalonians 5:17, that reminds us that prayer is continual. It says, it's simply that one of the shortest verses in the Bible. It says, pray continually. It's there in the context, you see, of rejoicing, of giving thanks. But in the middle of that, he says, pray continually. Now, how do we do that? Are we supposed to be on our knees 24/7? Are we supposed to be, consciously looking at a prayer list or in some kind of a prayer posture all the time? Well, not outwardly, but in our hearts. The idea is that we have this ongoing, continual dialogue or conversation with God going on all the time. This is one of the verses that helps us remember that prayer is not just a formality, that it's not just a ritual. If it were, we would not be able to pray continually. But because prayer is a conversation that develops our relationship with God, we can have a conversation with Him all the time, just as if you had a friend along with you while you were doing your errands, or just talking together over the desk while you're doing your menial chores or doing your work. We can talk to God like that all the time, every moment of the day, throughout the day. And so this is, again, part of the idea of the priority of prayer. Is it's something that we just want to be able to engage in continually, all the time. And in fact, we have the privilege of engaging in it continually. And then the second thing that speaks to the priority of prayer is the idea that prayer is intentional. We see that in Colossians chapter 4, verse 2. It's again another short verse. He simply says, devote yourselves to prayer, being watchful and thankful. Now, what does it mean to devote ourselves to prayer? It means that it's not something that we just dabble in. It's not something that we take casually. It's something that we make it a priority. When you're devoted to something, it's a priority. If you're a devoted fan of a sports team, or you're devoted to your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, then that person is a priority. And so this is saying that our relationship with God is something that we want to devote ourselves to and really care about that conversation that's going on. He says being watchful and thankful, two elements of that conversation. But the core idea here is that it's a priority, something that we commit ourselves to. And so I want you to know from these verses that we're both invited into prayer life, and we're also commanded into prayer life. And the reason why is because there's no higher priority in our lives than our relationship with God. There's no higher priority than developing that relationship with God, and we develop it through conversation, through prayer. So take a minute, pause the video then in a moment, and discuss this question on the screen. What would really happen in your life if you truly became devoted to prayer? Pause the video now.